Hi, this is Rabbi Zach Pleasant, and you are listening to You've Always Belonged Here, Temple Israel of Westport's new podcast. Each week, we will share moments from the Bima given by our clergy team or conversations with members of our staff or community.
The year that I spent living in Israel, my first year of cantorial school, my teachers told us that if there was any year, any week in the entire year that represented the soul of this country, that it was this one. This past week is what we've been calling here at TI the Yoms, but what in Israel is often known as the Israeli High Holy Days, with Yom HaShoah last Monday, our Holocaust Remembrance Day, Yom HaZikaron this past Monday, Israel's Memorial Day for fallen soldiers and victims of terror, and then on Tuesday, Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. And after experiencing this Jewish time in Israel, I understood exactly what my teachers meant. That this week really is at the heart of this nation in all of its complexity and resilience. And perhaps there is nowhere that this is felt more than in the Tekes Ma'avar, the ceremony of transition between Yom HaZikaron, Memorial Day, and Yom HaAtzmaut, Independence Day, in which the somber sounds of memorial services all around the country literally segue into upbeat, joyous celebrations of independence as the sun sets on one holiday and gives way to another. It's a transition that can feel quite jarring, but symbolizes what Israel knows to be deeply true, and what we know to be deeply true, that despair and resilience exist in the same breath, and that our existence and freedom in the land of Israel would not be possible without the sacrifice of those who gave their lives in defense of a land they so deeply believed in. It is a chilling realization that in a country as small as Israel, nearly every single person is connected to someone who lost their life in war or was a victim of terror. And this is something Israelis live with every single day, but it is such a nationwide experience that twice a year, on Yom HaShoah and on Yom HaZikaron, a single siren is heard throughout the entire country for 2 minutes, and everyone pauses. You might have seen some of the videos coming out of Israel of cars stopping right in the middle of the highway. Businesses close, classes halt, everyone stops right in the middle of what they're doing. And for 2 times a year, a siren does not tell people to run, but to remember. And so too, this Shabbat, a time that invites us to take a pause each week, do we find ourselves in another middle place. This week in our Torah, we read from the very middle parsha of the very middle book of our entire Torah. This double portion called Achremot Kedoshim contains what is known as the Holiness Code, which is a series of ethical and moral laws that instruct us how we should live our lives and quite literally teach us what it means to be holy. Right here in the middle, between everything our Torah teaches us, all of the laws and stories and all of this history that really lays the moral blueprint for our lives, we read in the very middle verse of our entire Torah, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. This is the center of it all. And so I want to ask us tonight, are we letting ourselves exist in this middle space? This middle place that really is what is at the heart of our entire Torah, a commandment to love our neighbor, a commandment to see the stranger next to us and to welcome them in with kindness, to see ourselves in them. There are not many places where this commandment really serves as a bedrock of society. As Cantor taught us last week, we are moving further and further away from each other, pushing our neighbors aside, dismissing them as strangers who are too different from us, rather than choosing to stand in what is difficult together. I keep returning in my mind to the images and videos this week that happened in that 2-minute pause. Not all of the news about the chaos and division in Israel that's driving us further and further to the fringes of one another, but know what is right in the heart of our nation. And those are pictures of Israelis, of Jews and Muslims and Arabs standing together outside shops in the old city, of the most secular Israeli and ultra-Orthodox Haredim stopped together on the side of the road, of all of the people, of every single person and culture and language and faith that makes up this melting pot of a land that might mean something different to each of us, but that means something deep to each of us, and that is truly made up of all of us. I refuse to believe, when I look at those pictures, that the reality that is portrayed to us of bigotry, of racism and anti-Semitism and Islamophobia is just a given in a land that is full of so many people who are different from one another. And I refuse to believe that the ideals right here in the middle of our Torah are not achievable in modern-day Israel today. Because I refuse to believe that a people who can turn mourning into dancing and curses into blessings cannot turn war into peace. I refuse to believe that peace among neighbors, among strangers, is only a dream. We wouldn't be here tonight if it was only a dream. This week reminds us, in the land of Israel and in the middle of our Torah, who we really are. Kulanu ken kulanu. All of us, yes, all of us, rikma enoshit achat chaya, are one human tapestry. And so let us pause and remember what is at the heart of who we are. Let it always be love.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of You've Always Belonged Here. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Temple Israel, visit our website, tiwestport.org, follow us on Instagram at Temple Israel Westport, or like us on Facebook, Temple Israel of Westport, Connecticut.